Hello, this is Adam Gray. I'm here to speak of Waking the Tiger by Peter Levine and with Anne Frederick. Oh, what a book. So I wish I had this book like 4 or 5 years ago. Um, I had to pretty much learn everything in this book without the book by myself through meditation, contemplation, and breathing. So, Waking the Tiger, basically about waking up that stuck energy inside of us. Uh, through renegotiation of that's just you know what I'm just gonna speak to this book how it spoke to me. I'm not gonna try to bullshit this thing on paper. So when I was a child, and everybody who read this is gonna know what I'm talking about. So I was a child to a very violent alcoholic father. Okay, so you're gonna hear me use some language in here that needs to be told as the story because if I treat it as how I normally treat it nowadays, which is just energy, and everyone might get lost. So, at a very young age, I would say around 6 years old, I started experiencing violence in the household towards myself and my mother, which created a very scary pattern of not even fight or flight. It was a freeze. It was a fawn. I curled up like a little girl in bed and hid under the covers, pretending no one would be able to find me. But when I felt the hand come across the back of me, over the through the blankets and the sheets, I was pretty easy to be found. Um, but for for years that went on, and it created just a pattern of well, I didn't even know it was at the time, but it created a pattern of freezing, and I didn't know how to release anything. I didn't know how to release any energy. Didn't know how to release any emotions. It was a very tense household, so it was like a weight lifted off our shoulders when the one of the main reasons for um, that tenseness left the house. But through my teens and 20s into my 30s, uh, it's crazy to look back and see the distinct patterning of my hyper arousal in states of frustration and not being able to properly release that energy because I didn't know how to do it. It was clueless. I was clueless to it. And he speaks of the woman who he went through the process of a not a renegotiation, but it was a reenactment of I guess her 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 own trauma. I guess it was a renegotiation. Um, when he told her to climb the tree, the tiger's coming. I didn't know how to do that. So there was times when I was going through elementary school. Yeah, it was crazy. Anyway, I watched my patterning of hypervigilance get worse too as I got older. So I remember distinctly many times that I would be at a bar. I could just be shooting pool, especially in my 20s. That I would literally go in there, and I was so geared with energy in a panic stricken way that I would look around and be so hyper aware and hyper focused on the threat, what I felt was a threat at the time when there was no threat. it was just that sense of that fawn energy of not being able to know what's around my environment. And through that is where I brought the energy to me. So it was great. You know, I look at it now, it's like insane. Like I wouldn't go looking for a fight or anything. I never really got in fights because once they attempted to try to physically harm me, I would find a way out of it and then just go and leave. So I would flight. Bye bye. There's a couple times I actually froze like a deer in headlights twice in high school, and then after that, a couple times in two bars that I remember of. Uh, I remember being people coming up to me and asking me what my problem was, and it was that the energy of it was the energy they were receiving in the same way like I guarantee they were in the same situation, but we could pick up on each other's energy, which was really bad at the time. So we like finds like, and we found each other, and it was not in a very good way either. So I remember people would come up to me and say, "What do why do you keep eyeballing me, or why do you keep staring at the room like somebody's like gonna attack us?" Like I had friends that would say that. I'm like, I don't know, I just have a feeling. There's no feeling. There's nothing even there. Oh, it's crazy. Yeah, so my reality was like there was never really a valid threat. I just created one in my head and gave the energy off, and that vibrational attraction came and found me. So it's really amazing how the universe works. But we're getting I'm getting off track. So through meditation and like going through trauma meditation, I have some stuff I used to do years ago for trying to work that. When I first started seeing the patterning, I would go through and accept what I thought was a story, it just as a memory, or what I thought was a story and a memory just as energy, because those can, as we all know, can get completely misconstrued. It's just energy, and it was from some sort of trauma, and I understand that I've dealt with that stuff. Um, but renegotiating it through felt sense meditations. This is before I even got involved with AOB, which actually opened up a whole different can of energy being released. But I think my awareness of having to start it first before I went down this whole rabbit hole of healing a few years back was huge. And reading this book, Waking the Tiger, was, it just, uh, everything started clicking. And I wish I had it before, as I said in the beginning of the video, because this really would have helped me out. But I feel like a different person because I did it without this first, and then this just kind of was the can opener to a couple extra, nuggets. Um, let's see. I think uh, I think the felt sense is everything. Honestly, like when you start to feel, like he says, when you start to feel the anxiety, the stress, the panic, the sadness, the fear, anything that comes up, to be able to close your eyes and feel into that felt sense. Go so deep that you just can get out of your head, go into the body, and just feel where it comes from, and just let it, just follow it, just real slow, follow it down in there, see where it sits. Maybe it moves, and it always comes back to like the original root cause. That's how I felt. It always came back to the original root cause. I could find myself trapped in my bedroom, or like I had a session with a healer, and it brought me to a basement where I used to get like the belt when I was a kid, and it was like a huge release of energy when I felt this, like, the basement was dark and it was black and it was closing in on me and I was scared to death. But as I was going through this process of healing, I I faced it and brought love into that whole situation. Brought love into the basement. Brought love into, knowing that one of the main reasons of my trauma as a child, I was just being raised by traumatized adults, little these poor little kids that just didn't know how to work out their own traumas in grown adult bodies. And when I finally brought that light into the basement and everything, and that love into that situation, everything got colorful. It got orange and red and yellow, and everything got like it exploded with color. And I felt safe and loved. And that was just part of many renegotiations in my past many years of like bringing all of this to the surface. Uh, so let's see. I don't know what else I have to say. I think that I covered a lot of my story in a very short amount of time. Healing trauma is basically, this book. I'm going to keep it, and read it. I would love to give this to numerous family members. I have psychologist family members too that have heard of this book and never read it, and I am probably going to send it to them this Christmas. Except the new one, I'm not going to give them my lovely highlighted one, because it needs to be. It needs to be. This is more important, I think, than like. And you guys, I hope I don't trigger anybody that's already in like the field of mental health. And I've seen a lot of shrinks in my day, but talking is only one very, very, very small, minute aspect to healing someone's trauma. Um, I don't even think it holds a candle to doing any sort of somatic healing or felt sense healing, anything of that nature, or renegotiation with the right type of person. I mean, I understand that you don't want to trigger someone that's been in, situations in their own head that, you know, the reenactment could cause some sort of psychosis or, even worse trauma. So this is like a Bible, I think, for everyone to at least read once in their lifetime, because this could really help, I think, humanity as a whole. And that's I know it's a big statement to make, but it really could. I don't think people understand how the energy centers or chakra systems work and how we are just these beings of light and energy that hold vibrations inside of a human shell for a very short amount of time. And if we don't learn from this time we have here by healing, I don't want to come back and redo this all over again for the next 200 or 300 times. Like maybe once or twice more, maybe none. And then that would be it. So let's all wake our tigers and finish this with let out the tiger. Thank you for listening to my video. I love all of you, my family here at Alchemy of Breath. I love you all. And I will talk to you soon. Thank you.